he immediately leaves. My name is Julia Mason, as you may know if you're already a viewer, and today I have lots of knitting to share with you. Actually, unfortunately, I don't have that much knitting to actually show you. I have lots of pictures of knitting because most of what I've been doing lately has been gift knitting. So I think I have 2 finished objects that I've given away already, and the other ones that I finished and gave away I've already shown you, so don't have to worry about those. So anyways, I guess I should probably do an intro for new people. My name's Julia Mason. My husband and I live in Oregon with our 2 little girls, and we raise sheep for lamb and wool. So that's the gist of it. Yeah, I guess I'll jump into finished objects, and I will just talk about them and insert photos later. So first is my Astra cowl, and that yarn was called, I almost brought it up here with me and I forgot to. You know what, I think I'm going to go grab it real quick because since I don't have the project to show you, I might as well show you the yarn. Okie doke. Alright, so this isn't it. This is the yarn that I used for my Astra cowl, and I lost the ball bands, but it was called Rico Essentials Superwash Merino, I believe. Whew, I think it was Superwash. So, anyways, this yarn is really soft. I don't know how to get it to focus. Really, really soft. It's an interesting, like, mousy color. Hey, buddy, go away. And then this, like, burgundy color. So thankfully my sister really loved it. I think I kind of have a grasp of her style, but I don't know. It's hard to know other people, like what other people will like. So yeah, it was a hit. She liked it. She was definitely, I think, definitely knit worthy. I didn't know how she would feel about hand knit stuff because she lives in Seattle and I don't get to see her very often, and she was very, very happy with it and really sweet. And it was really fun. I got to sit with her for a bit, and I'll insert a picture of her wearing her cowl here. And so I got to sit with her for a while the day after Christmas, and she asked me to give her some tips on knitting and get her started on a project. So I set her up with some yarn that I had that I was going to get rid of because it was, sorry, I just ran up the stairs and I haven't breathed since. So some acrylic yarn that I was going to get rid of, and I would have given her something a little bit nicer, but she really liked the color of it, and so she was happy with it. And I set her up with some metal needles that I had gotten as a hand-me-down that weren't really ones that I used anyways, and a little project bag, and sent her on her way. And we looked at some patterns. I got her set up with Ravelry and the Alpaca app, and it was like really fun for me. I think she liked it too, but I was just like, yay, I'm converting a new knitter. So that was really exciting. And yeah, we did this pattern. I can't remember the name of it. It doesn't really matter that much because we ended up changing it so much that it was not the same at all. It was a rectangular shawl-y scarf thing that had like 8 rows of garter, and the 8th row was eyelets. And so she did a little bit of that, but she wanted it to be rectangular to make it a little simpler because she's still pretty new. She knew how to knit from, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago. But anyways, so yeah, we just ended up making it an eyelet scarf, and kind of just, yeah, shifting it so, you know, knit 2 and then yarn over, knit 2 together the whole row, and then the next row is knit 1, yarn over, knit 2 together the whole row. So yeah, it's turning out really cute, and she sent me a picture of it from her drive home, I guess. And then yeah, she's excited, and I think wants to get a little bit more into knitting, which is really exciting for me, because I would like to convert all the people. So, oh, and this is my Aim True hat, and I have gotten lots and lots of use out of it already, and I knit it close to a year ago, but I never added a palm until, it's so bright, I'll turn this direction. until right before Christmas. Because I just hadn't got around to it, and it's silly, but I always feel like a pom-pom uses so much yarn, which is frustrating to me because I want to knit the yarn, and the pom-pom isn't really gratifying to make, but it totally makes this hat so much better. I'm really happy with it now. I've been wearing it pretty much constantly. I mean, I take it off when I'm inside because I get too hot. But yeah, I've been wearing it a lot. And I already wore it quite a bit. But it really just made this a lot more usable. This fabric is quite stiff. And the yarn that I used, the Brioche of France or something like that, I can't pronounce that, is really quite stiff and structural. So with how it's supposed to be a slouchy hat, it would tend to like stand up and look really stupid if I didn't pay attention to it. And the pom-pom fixes that. So yay! So I did that, and I finished her cowl. I gave that to her. That's all done that I can think of. She now, I told her that I had extra. I had to buy a second skein of this color to finish it. I was really close. I probably could have got away with just doing a few less rows, but whatever. So I think I might have enough to make her a hat from that same set of patterns. The Astra cowl comes with mittens and a hat pattern as well. So I think I'll make her a matching hat out of these guys. She has a pretty small head, so I think I can get away with it. We'll see. I might weigh those a little more carefully and see if I can figure out if I do have enough first. But anyway, that's my first finished object. My second finished object is another pair of Selbu mittens, Selbu that I knitted for my sister-in-law. Yeah, my husband's sister, Shay, and I used the same exact yarn as this hat. She really likes teal, but this brand, I was going to just use this yarn because I knew it, and it was really easy for color work, and I had bought yarn for his mom's mittens, so this is the closest I could get to what I thought she would like, because they don't have a lot of colors in this yarn. So, and this is not superwash, and it is merino, but it's kind of a fuzzier, grippier merino than what you would typically find called merino, and it's French. So anyways, I don't know, it's a really nice color work yarn. I really like it, but let me think. Oh, I have the leftovers from it. I used this bag. This has been my mittens bag, and like I said in my last episode, I was using 9-inch circulars, and those are like the little bitty circular needles. Those made the color work go crazy fast. And here's my finished up chart that I would just draw on as I finished. I have one more ball of that same yarn but a different colorway, and I'm thinking about knitting myself some. I don't know. I don't love this purple. It's not quite as brown as it's looking in the camera, but that's kind of fairly true to color. But I have this and I don't know what to do with it. But I have a lot of white left. This was from, oops, one pair of mittens. This is from my hat, I believe. The leftovers from my hat. And this is the leftover white from my hat. And I wonder if I have enough blue for another pair of mittens. And then this is the blue from Shay's mittens. Left over a little bit. Tiny bit left over from Jan's red mittens. I would really love to make the girls some tiny Selbu mittens, and then the rest of the white. So I have a lot of that contrasting color white. So I don't know what I'm going to do with all that. I'm thinking mittens, definitely for the girls. They have little hands, and maybe for myself. I don't know. I would really like to have a pair of Selbu mittens. They're very soft. This is really thick yarn. It took me quite a while to knit the first two mittens. The first mitten, the one mitten, took forever. The second one was a little faster. The third one a little bit faster. By the last mitten, I think it took me like a day and a few hours to knit that last mitten. I think you could knit it in a day if you sat down and just concentrated, but we had family visiting, and I didn't focus on it too monogamously, but yeah, so maybe a day and a half to knit that mitten. and it was fun and went by pretty quickly. Now that I am really familiar with the charts, it goes a lot faster because I'm not having to reference it constantly, and I can kind of follow the logic of the pattern instead of having to watch the chart, which, yeah, I feel like I'm not super fast at picking those things up, but I'm learning to, and that's cool. I feel like my brain's growing. So that's my second finished object. Yeah, I really recommend that pattern. I forget the name of the person. I want to say Stephanie, but that could be wrong. But I will insert the name of it, or I will have already inserted the name of it by now. So yeah, that's all that. I'm going to put these guys back in here so I don't get too confused and messy. And let's see what else I have. I think those are my only two finished objects that I can think of. My other present that I'm working on currently that didn't get done is for my sister Heidi. She lives like 10 minutes away, so I didn't prioritize getting hers done because I knew I could give it to her later, whereas Shay and Charity both live about 4 hours away. So this is it so far. It is a scarf shawl thing. Eyelet bias scarf is what it's called. And so it's really long. It's really hard to video it. This is the right side. And I think it will look really cool once it's blocked and really opened up. I like how these stitches all are looking, and they're all lining up correctly so far. Yeah, it's so much easier now that I know how to read my knitting. When I did my Raina shawl, I was all sorts of confused. I had to just like really closely follow the pattern, otherwise I was lost. So this yarn is Malabrigo sock yarn in the colorway August or something like that. It means water, and it's pretty. I really like this colorway. It's greeny blue. Green and blue are both my favorite colors, so yeah, it's getting quite long. The rows are getting longer and longer. It's pretty much, I mean, you could wear it the way it is now. I think I have like probably 30 or 40 grams left still, so it's quite a lot left. So yeah, it'll be pretty big by the time it's all done. And my sister's really excited about that. I knitted her a pair of like worsted weight or DK weight socks last year during lambing season, and she loved those, and she's been hankering after more knitted things. She's a really big, well, she was a really big crocheter. I don't think she does it very often anymore now, but she just never really liked or got into knitting as much, so she comes to me for her knitted things. Okay, so that's actually my only, no, that's not true. I have one more work in progress. Yesterday I cast on this. I bought this yarn for Nicholas specifically. Nicholas is my husband, in case you don't know. He wanted blue or green and brown, like to make it look like camo, which might have looked cool, but I couldn't really find a good brown that I was happy with. I really wanted to use a little bit nicer yarn and knit him something really nice, because he doesn't really let me knit for him because he won't wear anything because he's a poop. So he wears like silk cowboy scarves. They're called wild rags pretty much all the time. So he won't wear any like net garments because he's too busy wearing his silk. And then like gloves he would just destroy because he works really hard. And he said he would wear socks, but you guys know how I feel about socks. Although, oh yeah, anyways, I'll bring that up in a minute. But yeah, so I don't like socks because they get destroyed and they get, worn around the house and get dirty and things. But I might be more into socks now, and I'll let you know why in a minute. Stop, cat! You're so naughty. Oof, come here, come here. So he stole my Harlow hat, though. We had a little cold snap where everything was frozen for like a week, and he stole my Harlow hat and was wearing it under his cowboy hat. That's the other thing, is he wears a cowboy hat all the time. but it was thin enough that it fit under his cowboy hat. So he was wearing that, and he really liked it, and he said that he would like to have his own, and he really likes brioche. He's all about brioche. So I got these two colors, and I think they're playing really nicely together. It's a more understated effect than my Harlow hat, where I have like a white speckled yarn with a dark deep purple. Oh, what a nice kitty. Oh, this is wonderful. And the reverse side is also really pretty. So there's the blue side and there's the green side. Curious to see which way he'll wear it. I'm thinking with the green out, but it shows kind of the same amount of color whichever way you put it. But anyways, I cast on the child size for him. It took me so long to get this thing cast on. It's so stupid. So I tried a different style of cast on than the pattern recommends because I was curious how it would work. And it's kind of like a long tail cast on, but with two colors. But it just was not stretchy enough. So I cast that on, and I cast it on my 9-inch circulars because it's really hard to join small hats in the round on these, whatever they are, 16-inch or something like that. So they're not 16, it's like 14. But anyways, yeah, it was too small for this. So I cast it on my 9-inch circulars, which made it really hard to see how big it was going to be. And then finally, when I transitioned it over to bigger needles, I realized that it was going to be way too tight and wasn't going to fit. So then I used a pair of, because all my cables are busy, I used a pair of the bamboo needles that I have. Couldn't find my 2.75, so I went with my 3mm, thinking, oh, that's close enough. But it kind of flares out at the bottom. Like, I switched after like 3 rows or so, maybe more, and I don't know. I think it was a mistake. I think it'll be fine when he's wearing it. I'm sure it won't be noticeable, but it will forever bother me that that bottom edge is slightly flared, because you're supposed to cast on in 2.75 and then switch to 3.25. Instead, I did 3mm and then 2.75 and now 3.25. Man, if you are not a knitter and you're watching this, this probably is the most boring thing ever. I mean, even if you are a knitter, probably pretty bored right now. So that is all I'm going to say about that, other than to say I really love Malabrigo yarns and I'm really enjoying them. I would like to have more fancy indie dyed stuff, and I hopefully will in the future, but my stash is really, really big. I've been noticing it's kind of grown exponentially this year, and I just need to get through a lot of it. So I think I need to do a little stash diving and knitting things out of my stash before I can buy any more yarn, because but anyways, so on that note, I will show you a few things I have planned. I don't know if you guys like hearing what I have planned and then seeing yarn, but for me it's a little bit helpful to talk about it, because then I can remember kind of what my plans were, really what I ought to do. I mean, I do keep a pretty organized queue on Ravelry, and that helps. Oh my gosh, this is wonderful. My cat loves me. He used to be not a lap-sitting kitty at all, so I'm pretty happy about this. I also got him a teaser toy, one of those like wands with a feather thing, and actually I got it on Amazon, and it was 2 of those for $8 with a bunch of different attachments like feathers and wiggly worms and things. And I've been playing with him a lot, and all the kids, my nieces and nephews, played with him a ton around Christmas and just got him exhausted, and he's starting to get in shape where he'll, like when I first bought the toy, he wouldn't even jump at all. And now he's starting to jump up off the ground and try and catch it and stuff, and so he's getting healthier, and it's making him less of a jerk. He's not harassing the old kitties as much, and also our old kitties are doing better, so that's exciting. Like, I thought they were gonna die, and we started feeding them wet food and adding water to it, and they're a ton better, so that's exciting. But anyways, I will put this away real quick and show you some of my little plans for what I'm going to cast on next. I found a new pattern for Nicholas's sweater, as you know, I have been procrastinating casting on Nicholas's sweater for a long time. I bought the yarn several months ago for it at the Oregon Flock and Fiber Festival, and it is Rambouillet. I think that's how you pronounce it, and it's super beautiful, really, really lovely yarn. I'm really looking forward to knitting with it. And I had before a pattern picked out, and I actually had a man's sweater pattern plus 2 other free patterns with cable designs that I was going to steal to stick on the sweater, because he really wanted a cabled sweater with a shawl collar, and I couldn't find something to fit the bill. So finally I changed the gauge from fingering weight or sport weight to worsted weight, and decided that I would, or DK, and decided I would knit double. And I found a pattern that will work. It's called something Danny B or something sweater, and I'll include the name and the author of that pattern. And it fits the bill. It is cable-y, and it has a shawl collar, and I can knit it with 2 strands of fingering weight held double, and it's going to work, I think. I'm excited about it. So from what I'm reading in the notes, it runs a little bit small, so I need to measure Nicholas, and I need to knit swatches, and then I think I might go up a size, because in the last, well, we've been married for like going on 6 years, but in just the last 2 years, he has grown, like his shoulders have grown a ton, because he's been building fencing. And I mean, he's always worked a lot outdoors and done a lot of physical work, but somehow this fencing has like really made him bulk up. And so he's actually in better shape now, which is kind of fun. But but yeah, his shoulders have gotten kind of huge, and he's outgrown a lot of the clothes that he used to wear. So I think it would be better to err on the side of a little bit bigger, because he's either going to get bulkier and bigger, or he's probably going to get fatter as he gets older. So I might as well knit the sweater a little bit big, especially if it runs small. So that's my thoughts with that. And I have, I think, like 2 pounds of this yarn, so hopefully that's enough. So that's that. But unfortunately for him, I committed to doing the New Year's knit along, which, if you are interested, please check out at Clogs in Africa on Instagram. She has a link to her website there that has all the details. And we're teaming up to do the knit along. And I've decided to do, as you may know, the Ramona cardigan again. I picked this cheaper wool yarn. I think altogether the sweater will have cost me like $15, which is ridiculous. So I wanted to just try this out, since I haven't tried like a bigger commercial wool like this. I went from knitting with like acrylic to my first wool project, I think, was Malabrigo, and then I went to I've tried a lot of different things, but this is something kind of weird. It's the I Love Knitting, or I Love This Wool, excuse me, which I used to use that brand but of acrylic when I was knitting with acrylic. Anyways, I don't know why I feel the need to explain this so much. So anyways, yeah, I think it'll feel really nice. I like the feel of it. It's a little bit rustic, and I think it will make a really nice, hardy, outer layer, jackety type cardigan. So that will be cool. That's getting cast on in like 3 days, 2 days. What day is it? It's the 29th, so it's a New Year's cast on. So I'm guessing New Year's Day, not New Year's Eve. Oh, don't leave me, buddy. That makes me so sad. So hopefully this cardigan won't take too long. And the rules for the entering the knit along are anything up to 30% done at the start of the knit along can be entered, and I think it needs to be an adult size or maybe 2 child size cardigans, so that it's fair. And we will have prizes. I was going to offer up some of my sheep's yarn for a prize, but that's not going to be done for forever, it seems, because the mill is so busy. So I don't think that's going to be the prize, but I'll find something nice. And I can't think what the other rules are, or if there are any. It needs to be cardigan. That's about it. The cardigan cow. So yeah, and check out Clogs in Africa, and yeah, get more details from her and see what she's up to. So that's that, and I guess I only have just a couple more little yarny things to talk about, and then I'm going to talk about life stuff. So my little girl Felicity, who's 3, found this yarn that is silk bamboo, which is funny because it's 70% bamboo and 30% silk, but silk bamboo sounds better, I guess. And so this is a really, really soft yarn. It's actually incredibly strong. I tried to break off a section of it by hand the other day, and it would not. I had to find scissors because it was really strong. So she wanted something out of this, which I think is great because she's got pretty sensitive skin and it's so soft. I think it will look kind of fuzzy, but it will be really soft and comfortable. So I'm going to knit her something like a scarf or a cowl or something that she can wear around her neck that's a bit softer, because the shawl that I knit her, while she has been wearing it like a good child, she gets a little itchy afterwards, and I think it bothers her. So that, I have 2 balls of this, and they're only 102 yards each, so I will have to find something fairly small, but that should be plenty for a 3-year-old's neck garment. And I also found this weird thing. I had it in my stash. I had a lot of hand-me-downs from my sister Heidi, and I didn't really know where any of it came from. I think some of it might have been hand-me-downs to her, so I don't know what it is. And she used to knit a lot with acrylic because she would sell stuff. She would sell like hats and things that were made to look like animals. And anyway, so I assumed it was acrylic. I assumed everything was acrylic, but it's really soft. And when I was examining it, I found a couple of keds, which is like a, I don't know how to describe it, a white hair thing that sheep grow, and it's kind of a fault. I mean, you'll see them in yarn every now and then. It's not a big deal. You just pick it out, but it's kind of a rough hair thing. And I found a few fibers in here that looked like animal hair, and I should just try felting it too. That might be an easier way to tell. But it pulls apart pretty easily once you get the fiber to the, like, at the end of the fiber. Whereas like acrylic, I think generally the fibers are really, really long because they can just stretch them on and on, and they don't have to grow them out of an animal. So I think it is a natural fiber. It's really soft. I don't know if it has some, like, maybe cashmere content or something. I don't know what it is, but it's really, really soft. And maybe it's a blend. Maybe it's a little bit of wool and some nicer acrylic. I don't know. But I have been noticing with this colder weather that Daisy doesn't have any hats knitted by me. She has hats, but nothing that I made her, which is offensive to me. So I'm going to make Daisy a little hat out of this. Probably just something simple, a little toque, and then I probably will knit Felicity one as well, because there's quite a lot of this. There's this, and then there's one other ball. So yeah, assuming it's nice to work with, I think I'll make them both something. And that's another just kind of practical knit that needs to happen. And lastly, for my plans, my queue, I don't know why I'm sharing my queue with you guys, but whatever, is this awesome yarn that I've showed you several times that I got at Oregon Flock and Fiber from the Knitted Wit. I think she's having an event sometime this week in Portland, which is not too far away. I've thought about going, but I don't know. I'm pretty peopled out. Like, I don't know if you can tell from what I say on the podcast, but I'm super introverted. And after holidays, I'm just like shell-shocked, so tired, so don't want to see people anymore. I'm so tired of people. So, no offense. I love all of my family. It was really fun hanging out with all of them, but I am just done socializing. We're not doing anything for New Year's. We're just hanging out alone. So anyways, I'm going to be knitting the birds and ships pattern by Boylan Knitworks out of this. I have 4 little skeins of it, which I think is equivalent to like a little over 100 grams. So it should be plenty. And I just really love this colorway. And I like that pattern. It's pretty simple, but it has a lace panel in the front. And I think that will play really nicely with this colorway. And so I'm stoked to see how that will turn out. And yeah, that's that. That is all my plans for right now. Yeah, until I look at my stash tomorrow. The way it goes. So that's all my knitting stuff, I guess. I feel like I talked really fast, but I got through it all. Daisy is actually sleeping, as always. She sleeps a lot. She's a good kid. And Felicity is out riding her pony with her daddy because he's taking a little time off of work for the holidays, and which is really nice. And she hadn't ridden Puck in a long time, and it's not raining today. It's a little windy, but it wasn't raining. I went out and caught him, took his blanket off, and he's all clean and pristine under there. So we saddled them up and I sent them away. So I think they went on a trail ride in the BLM woods down the road, and hopefully they're having fun and nobody's getting hurt. And of course she's wearing a helmet, don't worry. Yeah, so that's exciting for her. I hope she's having a lot of fun. Otherwise, we have not, like, I feel like I have a lot to cover today, mostly because I just showed you a bunch of random yarn. But I also haven't podcasted in a while. Feels like a long time. I don't actually know how late I am on my podcasting, but whatever. That's life. We had Christmas, but mostly we replaced the floor and painted the walls for my mom downstairs. So we did the kitchen and the living room, and I will insert a video of that here. Okay, so this is the living room. There's my buddy. I don't know if you guys ever saw the floor in the backgrounds of videos or pictures before, but it has been subfloor for like 6 months. I ripped the carpet out in a fit of rage one day because it was so dirty and disgusting from years and years of not being replaced and having lots of pets and kids. So Nicholas and I just replaced it this last couple of weeks. We spent a lot of time, and then we also painted the walls, and all these bins here are full of our books and my old acrylic yarn stash. Whoa, there. That I'm going to be giving away. So yeah, we painted the walls. They had funny wallpaper before and trim. There's some artwork by my sister. Here's where all the girls' toys are now. We kind of rearranged the room. This used to be bookshelves that were full of Nicholas and I's books mostly. And there was a big table here full of junk, and then another bookshelf over there and the girls' clothes. So all the toys are kind of, relegated to there. There's my messy yarn stash. I'm standing in my own light. There, I have way too much. I need to knit some things before I buy anything. There's our juniper. That's our Christmas tree from this year that we cut down on our place. And yeah, it's just so much nicer in here. It makes me almost want to knit socks now. My mom got this rug. Hey buddy, he really likes it. So I will take you into the kitchen now to see what we did in there. So it's still a bit messy, lots of gifts and things on the table. We painted in here, put the TV up on the wall, and got rid of the little cupboard that it was sitting on, and did the floor. Obviously we need to do all of the trim. We decided to just get the main bit of it done before Christmas. And this was linoleum, and it wasn't terrible, but it was kind of getting scratched up at this point, so we decided to just, while we were at it, replace that. That floor is newer in the hallway, but doesn't match. Oh well. So yeah, oh, there's bowls. I was feeding the kitty cats. I've posted on my Instagram a couple times about how our elderly kitties, I don't know if there's any in here, are like 16 or 17 years old,
and they were starting to, here's one over here, they were starting to like fade. They were withering away and getting skinny and unhealthy, and one of them was kind of even losing his balance and stuff. And so we started just feeding them wet cat food and adding water to it. Pom Pom, come here, Stinky. Come here. Hey, beautiful. And they have turned right around and are doing a lot better. And they've gained quite a bit of weight. And Pom Pom is even playing a little bit. Hey, beautiful. You're a good kitty. So, yeah. So anyway, so we're feeding them wet cat food once or twice a day with water, because old kitties get dehydrated. And that was almost your demise, Pom Pom. We were like pretty sure they were on their way, on their way out. They're siblings, so they're kind of similarly aged. But anyways, I'll let you get back to the podcast.
Yeah, so like I said, the floor was really gross from like 15 years of having dogs and cats and kids and all that stuff and people. I have a really big family, so it was pretty gross. And one day when Mom was out of town, I just couldn't handle it anymore, so I ripped the floor out. I asked my mom, of course, and she was like, yes, please do. So yeah, it was better to not have the gross carpet, I guess. The house smelled better in general, but that subfloor was like almost equally as gross, and it would chip off because it was chipboard. So it was shedding wood chips constantly, and it was just dingy, and you couldn't clean it because it was too rough, so you couldn't like mop it. We had painted it with latex barrier, but when I tried to like wipe it or mop it or whatever, it just was too rough and would snag the mop, and it was just torturous. So it was really dirty. The girls were dirty. Their clothes were dirty all the time. I was always changing their clothes, and my mom was, pulling them back out of the laundry to like hand scrub them, even though I think I don't know, I'm not as good at taking care of clothes as she is. I try to be with my wool and stuff, but a lot of the kids' clothes, I'm like, oh well, it cost me 99 cents at the thrift store anyways. I'm not going to kill myself, but she's really good about hand washing things that get a little extra dirty. So I think it will be a lot less of a pain. Hi, kitty. Now, I'm loving the new floor. It's so easy to clean. It stays clean on its own a lot nicer. It looks really nice. It's smooth. Everything matches. It's just really nice. It's amazing the difference, like the living environment that you're in, how much of a difference that makes. So, yeah, I really like that. I think we'll probably do a snap together floor like that for ourselves when we get a place. So, because it was fairly affordable, and it was really, really easy to install. Nicholas showed me how, and I did quite a lot of it by myself. Not all of it by any means, and he did a lot of the harder places like around the hearth and things. But yeah, I got pretty good at it. I think I'm probably gonna do the upstairs hallway for Mom soon. While he's at work sometime. But yeah, that stuff's really, really easy to install. So, but it was like more than a week of working in the evenings. Well, I would do a little bit during the, what are you doing? You're evil. You're scary. I would do a little bit while Nicholas was at work, and I did pretty much most of the painting by myself. And then, when he would get home in the evening, we would work until later at night when the girls were sleeping, because that was the easiest time to get anything done. So we did that for a few days. I mean, more than a few. And then when he took some time off work, like over the weekend and then right before Christmas, we worked our butts off and got it done and got the house all cleaned up. Yeah, we just need to move some bins of books out to the barn that are ready, like packed and ready for us to move next year. Oh, what do you want? You're a pest. Oh, never mind. I take it back. Oh, he's so nice. You went from being really evil to really nice. So that's pretty much most of what we have been doing lately. Yeah, we went through a period of time where I was only getting to knit like, I don't know, a half hour to an hour in the evening every night, which seems like plenty, but it's not enough, as you know. So and it was, even then we should have been sleeping, but we'd stay up and I would knit for like an hour before bed. And then we would go to bed, just decompress a little bit. But yeah, so that's what we've been up to. Been busy with that. I also, I think I said last time about going to the property and getting our little tree and doing the septic evaluation, and now we're in the process of hiring a consultant to help us with the non-farm dwelling permit for the property in Prineville. And yeah, it's going to be a lot more expensive to get the permits than we were hoping. The permitting fee is going to be less probably than hiring the consultant, but the county made it pretty clear that if we didn't hire a consultant, we might get appealed. Our request might get appealed, and then we could get stuck in that process for months and months. So, yeah, whereas if we use a consultant, it's most likely, like quite likely, that we will get it all accomplished by the spring and be able to start building by late next summer. So, yeah, it is what it is. So that stinks, but at least we're slowly making progress on that, and we're just waiting for the holidays to get done so that I can hear back from the consultant with a proper estimate on what it'll cost. Luckily, the property has low quality soils. I feel weird saying that, but luckily our property has crappy soil, which means that it'll qualify probably for the non-farm dwelling, whereas if we had really nice soil, they would say that we are hurting agriculture by putting a non-farm dwelling. But you can't get a farm dwelling without being able to prove that you can make $40,000 a year, 2 out of 3 years. Which even the county is like, well, you're not going to be able to do that up there. I'm like, well, if you are admitting that you can't meet the qualifications for a farm, then why would you deny a non-farm dwelling? None of this makes any sense. Gotta love government. So, anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. You can find me on Instagram as Dandelion Dreams Podcast, and I post there pretty dang regularly, almost every day. So, yeah, if you want to follow along with what I'm up to, that's where I am there. And on Ravelry, I'm Dandelion's Dream, and on Facebook, I'm Dandelion Dreams Knits. So if you don't have Instagram, I post all my Instagram photos there. And yeah, check out the Cal. I would love to have some of our viewers, Iris's viewers and mine, along for the knit along. It would be really fun to interact with you guys and see what you're knitting. The hashtag for that is going to be New Year's Cardigan Cal, or no, New Year's Cardi Cal. That's workshop. We're workshopping that. So, but I think that's what it's going to be. So yeah, follow along and pick out your cardigans, guys. Everybody needs more cardigans in their lives, right? I mean, it's the most practical article of clothing. I should have worn a cardigan for the episode. I'm sorry. That was a mistake. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you can, and comment, share me with people. That would really help. I'd love to talk to more people, and I really appreciate all of those of you who do watch and are subscribed. You're amazing, and have a great day. Bye!